Honestly, it doesn't matter how shit times are. Hearing that intro puts a smile on my face. I don't care what anyone says. Love it. Hey guys, welcome to All for United. Hit a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you please do. Do you know 75% of people who watch our videos aren't subscribed? Yeah. Save that one for your cup of tea later and have a little debate over that. But still, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit like, and get involved with this preview show. It feels like the morning after the night before because we are ruining another defeat, another poor game. However, we are looking forward. We are looking towards a big game this weekend. And I do think now this is a massive game. Everton have started the season considerably well, despite what you would say recent form. And let's face it, that's because of injuries more than anything. And we've been shy. So it's a big game. If we want to climb up that table, we need to win it. And if Ole wants a job, I believe we need to win it as well. So big reaction needed this weekend. But you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from these guys, Joe, Oliver, and Temi on the show. Now, I just want to start quickly, a little bit off topic because we do that quite a lot. Joe, bless his heart, really tried to stand in for me on the last preview show. And I thought he done an all right job, didn't he? He done an all right job. But he stuffed up my tagline.
Oh, yeah.
He absolutely murdered my tagline. Like, literally murdered my tagline. Like, Joe trying to do my tagline was like the shit, sorry, Temi, to be political, that Trump came out with the other morning when he was saying that what's done is done. It was bullshit. Joe, this is how it goes.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome to the 3-Point Preview Show because, guys, what's the point in doing a preview show if we're not looking forward to getting 3 points? Joe, if you could write that down.
That's how it's done, Joe.
Yeah.
Please. That would be good.
Apologies, headmaster. I'll get it right next time.
Please, now you've got your fancy microphone and headphones. You need to get these taglines right, mate. All right, that's the next job. Let's move into it, shall we? Everton preview. We are all about the upcoming game against Everton, but we wouldn't be doing our jobs here and we wouldn't be spurring the conversation properly if we didn't talk about the current situation at the club. And it's all around our manager. Of course it is. Joe, we'll start with you. I've already said it's a big game this weekend. It's a big game on Saturday. But could this be the defining game for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if he wants this job?
Yeah. I think like these jobs seem to come to an end narrative-wise at United. Like Mourinho lost to our biggest rivals, got the sack. Moyes against like his ex-club got the sack. And I just kind of feel like I was saying this last night. If we'd won last night, it'd been convincingly, it would have been able to say, look, Champions League form is exceptional, league form is crap, but because we have exceptional Champions League form, it'll only take a matter of time before it transforms into the league and it'll all be happy-go-lucky. But since last night was so miserable and you can't use, and I was looking forward to have Martial back last night as well. I thought that might have been part of the problem. He was back, somewhat full strength squad, but the mistakes that were made were just, it felt like they were done by players who were just done. Like done with the manager, like possibly some of them even done with the club. And I just feel that no matter kind of what happens, like Solskjaer's gone. I think if he wins 4-0 the weekend,
no matter what happens.
I mean, like, I don't mean against Everton. I mean in this year. Like the only possible way he could get out of it is if I fundamentally believe this, if he wins every single game from now until, we'll say, January, then people might give him till the summer. But, like, that's not going to happen. I feel if we go to Everton, beat them 4-0, we'll come back from the international break, everyone will be like, oh, Ollie's the best manager in the world. One bad game after another, and then it'll just come back to this again, and it'll just happen. So I just, for me, I don't ever want to say I've given up on him. I still believe that there is a very good manager in there. I feel like I can always say he's been let down by the club and all like that, but I just kind of feel like it's coming to its head, unfortunately.
Temi, does it feel inevitable, like Joe was saying there, or do you think it could be sooner than we all think? Do you think with a defeat against Everton that could be the end of the road for him?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable, especially with a defeat to Everton. We would be 7 points from 7 if that was from 7 games, if that's the case, and that's literally relegation form. I mean, that is poor. I mean, granted, we've done well in the Champions League so far, barring that loss last night to Istanbul, but it's just too inconsistent. I'm sorry. I know you can always blame the board. for not doing enough, for not doing better. But I always ask myself, this is something, and again, mind you, I don't like the whole Ollie in, Ollie out trends and agendas. That's not how I evaluate a manager, not how I evaluate a coach. But I do ask myself this question almost every single day after every game. Is there a manager out there who can do a better job than this current manager? And I always say yes. If Ollie gets fired today, post this Istanbul loss, does he get another top level job? And the answer to me is no. There's no club out there to give him a chance. And that's Manchester United manager. And that's a problem. And that's a problem for me. I think we need to look and can we do better about, this is not about Ali in general. I know he's been let down at times, from the board and, not getting players he wanted. But I think there's a lot to be left desired. And I think the writing is on the wall.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it, Temi? Because for me, and I put this out actually at half time for the game last night at half time, I put out, it's not because we're losing, it's the way we're losing. And I think that's the problem. Again, against Chelsea, look, I know we've had a couple of brilliant Champions League wins, but I think we also forget that PSG were all over us. As much as we controlled the tempo of that game, managed to keep them in control, they spent the whole game all over us. And the same with Leipzig. We were the away team in that first half, not the home team. And of course the substitutions made a difference. We could bring on a fresh Rashford, a fresh Bruno Fernandes, and they absolutely annihilated them. Like Leipzig couldn't switch quick enough, and that's what inexperience does for you. And Leipzig are a relatively inexperienced side, especially in European football. I think just coming off the back of what you said, the worry for me is this season. It's what we're seeing on the pitch. It's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We're not saying Ole out because we don't like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and we're not stood here screaming Ole out. We're saying we're watching our football team play football, and they are not doing it right now. It's as simple as that. I don't want to dig into the tactics. I don't want to dig into, he should be playing this formation, he should be playing that formation. At the end of the day, Ollie's going to have his reasoning why he's switching up like he is and why he's playing the players he's playing. But for me, I watched the second half of that game, and please feel free to add players in the bag, but we had, in terms of players who were playing in that half, Fosu-Mensah came on. Wan-Bissaka played most of the second half. We had Luke Shaw on the pitch. We had Cavani. We had Rashford. We had Martial. Van der Beek played a bit of that second half. We had Matic went to centre-back, so McTominay could come on and play. Well, I don't know where he was meant to be playing, to be quite freaking on with you. I just don't have a clue. But the point I'm trying to make, and Fernandes still on the pitch, Pogba, the amount of attacking players on that pitch, and we created one opportunity. One opportunity, and they had a ball cleared off the line. That's what we created with all that on the pitch. Now that says to me that there's something fundamentally wrong with what's being taught to this side. There's no triangles. There's no triangles. The players aren't playing together. Van der Beek would pick up the ball, play a very simple pass. Well, there's no movement in front of him. There's no movement for the next player. No one's reading the game. Now, is this because all these players are shocking? They're all bad. Like, for instance, I said the other day, I don't think Paul Pogba's world class. I think he's a very good footballer. But actually, is this system, is this team, the way they're being taught to play football, is it making Pogba look less and less like a good footballer? And that's why we're only seeing shades of him, and we're all having this Paul Pogba debate. I don't know, but for me, I'm watching that game with the amount of attacking players we have on the pitch, and I suppose in some ways, in a long-winded way, I'm agreeing with you here, Temi, that you cannot tell me that another football manager, even an Allegri, a Pochettino, anyone, you give them players for that second half against Istanbul, and we don't, at the very least, win that second half.
I think the huge factor, I don't know if this was a factor, but I think the fact that Poch was on Monday Night Football the other night, and like the big thing that came from that was, I'm ready to get back into football. In kind of the midst of maybe the worst time of Solskjaer. I don't know if that's kind of
not a coincidence, is it?
Yeah, I'm not, and this in no way is me trying to defend Solskjaer, but this is me trying to say that maybe this is why he tried to make it look like he's a bit more flamboyant than he is by saying, I know these players, I'll bring my... that's what I'm thinking.
I'm going to hold my hands up now, right? I don't know if I'm convinced on Poch. I don't know if I'm convinced on Allegri. Like, I don't know who I'm convinced on being the next Man United manager, because I still want Solskjaer to succeed so badly. But it really does feel like at times I'm trying to flog, a dead horse with trying to back him up or trying to find ways and blame the players and X, Y, and Z. But but that's why I'm not even willing right now to say I want X, X, and X as manager, because for me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still the manager of this football club, and I'll still back him as the manager of the football club. But as Temi said there, the worry is you're watching those players on that pitch week in, week out, and you're asking yourself, are they really that badly? You're telling me that another manager doesn't get a better tune out of them? Could it just be the setup from the backroom staff? Like, again, Oliver, come on, we haven't had your thoughts on this. What do you think of Everton?
Well, I think Joe's hit the nail on the head there, hasn't he? I think from a business aspect.
Wait a second. Joe hit the nail on the head. I spoke for 2 minutes there. Joe said about 30 seconds.
Well, no, you said it a while ago.
Yeah, look, Ben, you're the one who brought up American.
The inevitable.
You're the one who brought up American politics, all right? It's all about, buzzwords. It's not about actual facts. It's just about,
Guys, I found a new habit of Joe. When Joe wants to talk over someone, he gets really close to the microphone and makes sure that no one else can hear anyone but himself. There we go. Watch out.
I got the new mic, man.
Yeah, that's it. Go on, Oliver. Carry on, mate.
So, from a business aspect, they've clearly not naively not looked into anybody. I mean, especially looking how long it takes us to do any deal of any descript. So I think, it would be naive not to think that they haven't contacted other managers. I think we are delaying the inevitable, and it would not surprise me, in the least, if we lost to Everton. I mean, that home form's just been disgraceful, frankly. It showed last night, with the tactics, didn't really work. I don't know whether his in-game management is just that bad, but the subs, it was laughable. I'm not convinced by him. I love him. He's a club legend, but he has shown himself to be lacking in quite key areas of being a top manager. I don't know whether that's a lack of experience. He's probably struggling to understand how to deal with man management and, the tactics and the press and all the massive extras that come with managing, such a big club. But I think a more experienced manager would have got, a better song out of those players. At very least, have a bit of a shake-up and actually try and get a bit more of a tune out of them. Taking Donny van der Beek off was, that's a sackable offence. We weren't doing the best passing anyway, and to take the best, sort of smartest controlled player off the pitch in a game where we should have been just walking through that defence. It was a load of Premier League old boys, and yet we struggled so badly. A lack of invention. As you say, it's whether or not they were dragging their feet along the pitch. Are they not playing for the manager? Are they not, are they not playing for the club anymore? And yet there's this persistence about using certain players. I mean, now I've highlighted that I'm not sure Scott McTominay is a good enough player at this level. Obviously he's a club lad. He puts, he wears the shirt with pride, but he hasn't got the skill. I mean, that shouldn't be enough to keep you on the pitch at all times, especially, when you haven't been playing well. It really hit a nerve the other day when he took Fred off instead of McTominay. I mean, anybody can see that. It's all right, saying armchair managers could, why did he do that? It was obvious that he shouldn't have done that. And maybe there's something we don't know. But to me, that was just, that was schoolboy stuff. That just sort of stopped all the attacking on the right. He looked out of place. Oh, right, what do I do? Let's set up a bank, even though we're losing. I think decisions,
Yeah, I think decision making, you are completely spot on. Actually, Temi, I want to bring this one back to. I want to make a comment quickly on Bruno Fernandes last night. I actually think also that's the first time I've watched Bruno Fernandes just go, do you know what? Like, no one's his body language. You could tell that he hated every minute of being out there last night. You could just, no one wants to watch that back, but I'm just going to say, if you do, watch Bruno Fernandes. He
watch Rashford in the Arsenal game.
Rashford in the Arsenal game is another one, yeah.
Object. What am I doing? This isn't how it should be, And if they can see that, what does that tell you?
It's absolutely mental. Temi, I did want to come over quickly and ask you something, but it's completely evaded my head. I don't know where it's gone. I was going to ask you something. It's going to be worth your while, but I literally can't remember what I was going to say.
I'm ready.
But you can guarantee it was worth your while.
I was going to say about Bruno Fernandes, and then what was I going to say? I literally. Oh yeah, that was it. So Jamie, when I spoke to Jamie Jackson the other day on the podcast, we spoke a little bit about Ollie getting a reaction out of players. In the past, he's managed to get a reaction when he's needed it the most. So obviously, as Joe said earlier on, getting a win against Everton isn't completely out of Ollie's realm here, and for him to do it in somewhat comfort to try and bring in a bit of calm before the international break. But don't you just feel like, compared to other times, especially the end of last year, Joe, I think you were the one who said it, Joe, that coronavirus saved Ollie's job at the end of last year. However, I didn't feel like I feel now. It feels different, doesn't it? There does, we've used the word inevitable, but it really does feel that way no matter what happens on Sunday. At some point this year, it feels like he's going to end up going, doesn't it?
Well, surely that's because it's consistently happening. It wasn't one game, then two good games, then we should have won that. It's constantly infuriating decisions, naivety shown through what's happening on the pitch. It's not being translated, or is he not training them correctly? And I think that happening in such close succession, a 2-1 win over PSG can only cover so much.
Tell me, are they your biggest bugbears as well, or?
No, yeah, I think it is. I completely agree with Ollie. It's inevitable. I've always been of the opinion that I don't think Ollie is going to be the man to take us to the top. I thought if we were to have him, it's going to be to kind of level us out, to get prepare us for another manager. I thought last year he dodged a ton of bullets. I mean, a ton of bullets. I thought after the Aston Villa 2-2 last year, I thought he should have gone, in my opinion. And then after the Burnley loss, specifically before Bruno came in, I thought he should have gone, just off of the back of all the performances and inconsistency. And I think it's even when Bruno came, obviously we went through that undefeated streak, but that undefeated streak was a little bit deceiving too, because there were some performances where we got draws, or even snuck some wins that were just, the performances weren't good, and the performances are consistently inconsistent. That's the only thing we can say about it. And now it's going to be like, okay, you got third place this year. A lot of teams got better. Everton got better. Spurs got better. Chelsea got better. You're not just going to get third place off of 66 points this year. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen again. And it looks like, to start this season, the inconsistency is still there. So there's no more excuses. After 100 games, I don't think you could ask 5 United fans what Ollie's philosophy and style of play is, and you get the same answer. That's a problem to me. That's a real problem to me. There's no real patterns of play that are consistent. There's no formation that's consistent. And I don't know what his philosophy is. I think I know what his philosophy is. He wants to keep it tight. He wants to, hit teams on the break. That's what he's done. That's what he's been successful at. But that being said, that's not Manchester United's way. That's not how this club historically plays football. So when you get him, when you get people when you get Ollie in a press conference, he'll blurt out the cliche, United way of playing. But then we don't see it on the pitch. We just don't consistently.
Well, you're spot on, Tommy. Absolutely spot on. How many times has he said, we need to get this team back to playing the United way, United DNA?
Also on that, can I just get on that? If he did want to play counter-attacking football, what baffles me from the start of the season is he's playing with a high line. You can't play with a high line and play counter-attacking football. It just doesn't work. And then Maguire and Lindelof were getting exposed. Sure, again last night. By the way, can I just quickly throw out there, whoever is coaching this team defensively, look, we've done a bit better in recent games, but that first goal, what the freaking hell happened there? If you're going to send all your defenders up for a corner, Matic is the man back. Really?
Matic!
Matic!
Of all people.
All day.
I tweeted this last night, and I think what they were trying to do, they obviously got our conversation we had in the pod last week about who was going to be quicker over 100 meters, whether it's Mata or Matic. And then Matic remembered that, but Mata forgot all about it. So then Matic is running back, and then Mata. So
do you know what, Joe? We've just done 20 minutes on this, right, for the preview. And later on, you've got the All for United podcast. I think you could. I'm going to decide your topic for you now. I think this is your topic. It's
Okay.
Ollie, the rise and fall, and I think you should do an hour on this with the lads tonight because, as I just said, I've just started here. I could continue, but if I continue with this, we'll go completely away from the Everton game. So I think we've got a hope that Ollie can get a reaction. But the problem is it doesn't take away that feeling that we've all got, even if he does. So it's worrying times, I think, and all we can. No, again, as I say, I don't want to talk about other managers. I still hope he can put it together. But as I said, my feelings right now is that we've got to somehow, in the space of 2 days, as Temmie just said there, find a way of playing football, do it, but then also do it consistently. And with the international break coming up and the run of fixtures we've got, I can't see it happening. And the longer this continues, someone was speaking the other day. Again, what I watched the other day, two things. I watched something on True Geordie's, the kickoff the other day, where they were talking about the fact that we're 6 games in, United are out the title race.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. It should never be the way.
But Cardiff was showing. But sorry, Ben.
I was just going to say one more thing, and also my other thing is someone else was talking about trajectory. So Ollie's not going to go until the United trajectory shows that we are worse off than where we were, so to speak, last season. And the problem is we're so far off where we were going to be last season. Even if we want to look back at the fact that we started last season so poorly as well, it's not an excuse for playing the way we are. And it's not an excuse to have the atmosphere that we currently have as fans and around the whole football club. So I think, the board and Woodward has never been shy of making a change. And I think that it's inevitable. And of course, we can ask questions of the board and the Glazers all day long. But the fact of the matter is we still got professional footballers who should be putting a shift in, week out on that pitch with the backing of their manager and their manager telling them how to represent our football club. And they are not doing it. So the downfall and the buck has to drop with a manager. So unfortunately, Ollie's going to take the flak. And I don't think it's that long away. Anyway, Joe, quickly, last word on it.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say why I think it's going to happen this weekend as well. Cartick was saying last night, our upcoming fixtures after the international break are like a lot easier. So like if you want the new manager to come in and to bed in and have like a few games where he can get the team going the way he wants to, I think that's the best time. So that's why I feel like it can happen as soon as this window. Sorry, it's just break.
We will wait and see. But moving on, and we've just spoken about sort of Ollie and where his future lies, and now we're going to talk about the transfer window he's just had with the club. It's really interesting, Joe. I had Jamie Jackson on my recent shows. I've mentioned a couple of times. I feel like I'm name dropping him a lot in this show, but that's because the guy speaks gold. And he really is. He's brilliant, and he's got so much inside information when it comes to United. He just dropped a load of nuggets on me the other day. Did that even sound right? On me the other day.
Whatever you're into, Ben. Whatever you're into.
It's a very weird moment. I was like that. Anyway, I don't know what that means.
I love how in depth you went there. I love how you really went for that, Ben.
Commitment.
You went all in.
I don't know what happened.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing, Ben. You really went for it. That's one way to cheer us up anyway. That's a real leader. Ben. Taking one for the team there.
Who doesn't love this shit that we put out? Anyway,
Cheers,
right, Ben, bring back the control. He was saying that he thinks on reflection that if we can get the shape right and we can get the formation right, then he actually thinks that we've got the players to fill potentially where Ollie does want to go. But we're playing a side in Everton this weekend who apparently had one of the best transfer windows out of a lot of us this window. So, Joe, how impressed are you by Everton's new recruits, especially James Rodriguez?
Yeah. Oh, like so in awe of what they did, because when they brought in James, I was like, I had this feeling, all right, that it could go one of either way, and I went with the way that would have suited me better if Everton were just crap, and it'd be hilarious. But actually, everything they've done has just worked out. Like Ancelotti has made them a far better team, far better unit, and look what he's done to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Like across the board, everyone they bought in, I believe, has just like improved on whatever I could have hoped they would be. So 100%. They're exceptional transfer record this window. So kudos to them.
Yeah, they've got it right, haven't they, Temmie? They've got it right. And I think we're still looking at how we embed our players in, don't we? Of course, Tellez had COVID, obviously not his fault. Showed some glimpses against PSG, but hasn't obviously been able to play. I suppose the one positive on Tennis coming in is Luke Shaw has played out of his skin. He's probably been the only player that we can say has, actually put in some maximum effort recently. Then the likes of Cavani still doesn't look sharp enough, does he? I mean, he's good at rolling on the floor. He showed that against Istanbul Besiktas, but didn't show much more. And obviously Van der Beek isn't really getting the game time. However, are people forgetting about these players? Cavani and Van der Beek haven't really played competitive football since March because the Dutch league ended really early, the French league ended really early. So have we just got to be a little bit patient before we judge our window?
No, I don't think so. I think yes, those are two really good players, but I think if you look at how other clubs did their business, in comparison to ours, Cavani could have been fit if we had signed him maybe 2 months earlier and embedded him. He was sitting there waiting for months. It's not like we were competing against anybody or. So it's not. I'm not even necessarily blaming the players. I'm blaming the way we handled the transfer window, and it was shit. The more I think about it, it was absolutely poor. Johnny Van de Beek kind of seemed like a gift from Edwin van der Sar. Like, here, I'm just gonna, this young guy needs to play at a higher level. Here you go, almost. You know what I mean? Obviously, Telles unfortunately got COVID, so we can't even judge him right now. And then the two young guys, Palestri and Traore, excuse me. They're not going to be ready for a long, long time. So yes, the transfer window was absolutely poor. That being said, I still think our squad, when you look at it in totality, is pretty deep. When we rotate, we don't look like we lose too much. We rotated against Istanbul. That squad still looks strong, even though we played like crap. When we rotated, we've rotated pretty much every single game. And our squad, like I go into every game saying even if there's tactical mistakes there, I say individually, player for player, it's still good enough to be competitive. So I don't. It's a weird balancing act of, yes, the transfer window was poor, but at the same time, it doesn't excuse the performances. I don't think we put in. I think there's only been really there's been 3 performances this season so far, and that's just not good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can't argue with any of that. And Oliver, just come over quickly to you. I mean, in terms of our new lads, obviously Amad Diallo's not here, and obviously Palestri's still young, so we won't bring him into the argument just yet. But looking at Van der Beek, Telles, Cavani, can you see any of them forcing their way into the starting lineup? Do you think Ole actually really fancies any of them being starters?
Well, I mean, it's sort of no point, isn't it? I mean, the fact that you even said Palestri and Diallo's not even here yet. Palestri's far too young, he's not a starter. He's not even a bench player yet. I think we needed this, width that Ole's kept going on about. And to do that, we need wingers. We currently have 3 strikers playing as a left forward, a right forward, and a number 9. And we needed wingers. We didn't get any wingers. There's so many that we could have got for decent prices. And I think that's what frustrated me about that window. For the likes of Everton needed a strong holding DM. They got Allen. They needed a good box-to-box midfielder. They got Decore. The list goes on. All the players that they got rid of that they didn't want. They weren't scared to put Sigurdsson on the bench. Yet we've had to keep everyone happy, it sort of seemed. And I think that's, sort of showed through the players that we went for. Did we need another striker? I'm not entirely sure. Everyone forgets we still have a Gallo. I think I'd prefer to get
Oliver, you just took your argument and ended it immediately.
Yeah.
Well, no, the point is we should have got wingers in the transfer window,
Yeah, but I think Cavani was on a free transfer, wasn't he? And Igalo's going to go in January. I don't think Cavani's the biggest, so to speak, worst or questionable signing we've made here. But I do agree with you. Would I have taken a Jadon Sancho over everyone?
Yeah.
Well, no, anyone. Even LSR. What's that? 40 million. It's not big.
No, I wouldn't have taken something. No, I personally wouldn't have. My own personal opinion. I respect yours.
For a winger, so we can.
But you can't. We can't just get into this like again, we can't just get into this mold where it go, oh, we'll take anyone to come and play for Manchester United.
No, that's understandable, but he has had flashes of brilliance, and he's not old in any sense of the imagination, So there's still talent value. That just as one example, there was plenty of people that were there for, making us better and in depth. Midfield again, like I said, with certain teams getting the players in that they needed, that were that position that they were going for. Maybe we could have gone and got Allen, because as soon as we don't have Matic, we look a lesser team or have to rely on two players to do that role. So I think it was really quite poorly managed this window, and I have to agree with Temi. It wasn't good enough,
Yeah, spot on. And yeah, I completely agree with that. It wasn't good enough, and I think actually we're ruining that now. Anyone in here? Let's try to be a little bit more optimistic if we can be. Summer transfer window and the starts of the season given. I mean, I know Everton have lost a couple of games on the bounce, but they've also missed a couple of key players as well for those games. Anyone in here think that we won't finish above Everton this season, or do you think?
I think we will.
I think it's far too early in the season because we could go on a run, they'd go on a run, both of us won't go on a run, which is more likely. I think it's just really hard to say. Who knows? The best thing we can hope from this is just Liverpool don't win the league. That's literally probably going to be the only saving grace for this season of ours. Other than that,
who will win the league?
It could be no one.
I couldn't tell you now. Really, I couldn't tell you.
There's no clear. Usually you'd have one or two teams that are just out there and doing what they're doing, and everyone else is falling behind. But kind of everyone's been relatively bad. So and conceding goals.
It's not been the best advert for the Premiership football thus far this season, has it?
Temi, what do you think? Will we finish above Everton?
If we don't make any changes coaching wise, I don't think so.
Genuinely,
I think that they are going to. This is a fact. They are going to put in more consistent performances than our week in, week out in the Premier League. Yeah. It's just a fact. They know what their balance is. They know what their best 11 is. Granted, if James gets hurt or something like that, it's a huge drop off. They don't have someone to create. Last weekend they played Newcastle. James didn't play. They look like a completely different team, right? So granted, I'm saying if they can stay healthy and keep that balance they have, they're going to put in more consistent performances than us week in, week out, even though they don't have the depth that we do. So to be honest, yes, I could easily see them finishing above us.
They've also got a manager who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, managed some big personalities, knows how to manage people. Fantastic manager. I think if there's one thing for sure, I think just to end this conversation here, I definitely think Everton are in a shout for being in the battle for top four at the very least, like Sheffield United and Wolves have the last few years. So United, again, even more reason why we need to take 3 points off them early doors this weekend. Finally, look, a little bit of positive news, Joe. Martial's back in the squad for this weekend. He served his ban. For you, does he come straight back in? And why have we missed him so much in our past two Premier League games?
Yeah, of course. No, he's straight back into the team. He's leading the line. I was kind of hoping he was the reason we weren't playing as well against Chelsea and Arsenal. And that's why I was hoping last night he would just come in. He did get a goal, but wasn't impressive. But yeah, we just need him because he's our best number 9. He, as you say, Ben, quoted, he is the best in the world at going one-on-one with a player.
Whoever said that said it right.
Yeah, whoever said that
is dropping nuggets as well.
Yeah, he's dropping nuggets in everyone's mouth. But no, yeah. But Martial is, he is the best option we have up there. For me, it'll take a while for me to be sold on him, but a lot of goals last season. Let's hope that continues to improve. He just needs to keep his head up because it seemed to be a huge problem with our team, over anyone else, that when the heads drop, it is so hard for them to bring them back up. And when they're in form, everything's wonderful. But his head, I'm hoping he's got 2 goals in 2 games now in his last 2 games. One was a penalty, obviously, and the other one was the header last night where he didn't have a good game overall. But I'm hoping he can really take that on and move forward with it, because we do need him back and we need everyone firing all cylinders. And if he's playing well, then other players playing well too. So yeah, we need him back. We need him back bad.
Yeah. Temi, you can score headers. Can you Adam and Eve it? What a player we've got there. For you, what have we missed the most about Martial leading our front line?
Yeah, it's the hold-up play. Nothing more, nothing less. I think people don't understand what his value to the team is. To be quite frank, I don't. He's a Benzema type player. And I'm not saying he's as good as Karim Benzema, but a lot of people, wonder how Karim Benzema has stayed at Real Madrid for 10 plus years and been starting pretty much his whole time there. It's because the stuff he does when he's not scoring goals is invaluable. He holds up the ball, he drops deep, he allows other players to get into the game. That's what Martial does. Obviously on a lower level Benzema, but I think he could get there one day for sure. He draws so many fouls. Even in the game against Istanbul, he probably drawn at least 5 fouls, just getting his back to goal, and putting it in a place where the opposition can't get it. Rashford can't do that. I'm so sorry, he just can't do that. We've all seen him play number 9 as a lone by himself. We saw him play as a number 9 against Arsenal. Was it with Mason Greenwood that he shared the responsibility with? And both of them are just too lightweight. They're way too lightweight. When they get the ball to feet, center backs just shrug them off the ball, and it's too easy. Martial, at a minimum, he's going to draw a foul more often than not, and I think that's something that people don't understand. Not to mention he can score goals, he can take people one-on-one. All of that, packages a pretty damn good player. Good player, and we missed having all of those intangible things that people don't see on a day-to-day.
And he wins us penalties. Penchester United. That's all I'm saying. Oliver, what about for you? You happy to see Martial back and available for Premier League action?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure we saw the best of him last night, but then again, he's only just come back. So hopefully when he gets back into form, as we know, he does make us a lot better because he gives us a lot more than you'd think. His link-up play and hold-up play has worked brilliantly to try and use this system that Ole's been trying to implement. And I think you could see, we didn't change it tactically to suit that when he wasn't playing against Arsenal. So hopefully that makes it a bit easier. And, I think he needed that game to get a bit of ring rust off him after an injury. So hopefully, after a red card, hopefully he brings that back at the weekend, and we start to see a bit more of the quick link-up play and clever play that has done us, served us well and got us goals when they've all been on song. I could see us beating Everton. They have got a bit of an M&M mentality, crispy hard out of shell, bit soft in the middle. If you take a few players out of that starting 11, they're not great in depth. I think we've got Rodriguez is injured. Luca Digne is still serving a 3-match ban. So, and Pickford's got tiny arms. So, if we can't take advantage, of the slight benefits that we have going into that game, then that just sort of shows the lack of tactics that we are implementing. So hopefully, it's going to be a good result. But and then hopefully we keep Ole in a job and everyone has a smile on their face for the weekend.
Especially going into the international break. I hate going into an international break.
Well, that's it, innit? And a loss.
Yeah, well, and it would have been 3 defeats in a row if we do, which is just...
I'm already miserable enough today because Dave McGoldrick retired from international football yesterday. And, if you think United have starting striker problems, that's Ireland's main man. So, it's devastating. We're holding a vigil in my house.
Is he like the Harry Kane of Ireland?
Well, he has 1 goal in 14 games. So, yes.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Right, okay, very interesting. Okay, so more like the James Wilson.
Better than his record for Sheffield, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, didn't he? No, he didn't score. He scored 1 goal, didn't he, last year?
1 in his whole career.
No, that's wrong. Fact. 1 Premier League. He scored twice against Chelsea last season.
Yeah, but
Yes,
why are we talking about
Okay.
him? Who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah, because I lost
Joe
them.
switched it to an island, team island.
Always,
Joe.
he always brings up
Did
Ireland.
it again. Did it again.
It's me and my chicken nuggets in Joe and Ireland. You're guaranteed one or the other. Guys, instead of doing our predicted lineups, it worked well last week when we all individually commented when the video went live. So what we're going to do is each of the lads, Joe, Oliver, Temi, and myself through the All for United account, will put our lineups, our predicted lineups, in the comments. Smash a like on whoever's lineup you like the most, because then you're basically giving them a vote. They win nothing, but just like them for the popularity contest
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, I'll take it for that.
Yeah, just popularity contest. That's all
Right,
it is. To make us feel great.
Yeah.
But we will end on some predictions. So, guys, make sure everything we've spoken about, get your thoughts in the comments as you watch the show. Hit the like button, subscribe to All for United. Come on, let's get to 1.5k in rapid time. Let's turn this around and make it easy. But before we go, one slight prediction, and that's first goal scorer and scoreline. Joe.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin to score first, and United to win 2-1.
Ooh, okay, nice away win. I said that. I'm not worried about us playing away from home. It's more at home, not away.
Exactly.
So the fact we're at Goodison, it's fine. Temi, what do you think? First goal scorer.
First goal scorer is going to be Bruno. It's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Ooh, okay. Oliver.
Oh, so Rashford 2-2 draw. It's definitely got a draw written on it. This.
I said, see, but am I going head and heart? Head or heart? What should I go with? Joe, head or heart? What should I go with?
Balls.
Nuggets.
Chicken nuggets. 20 or 5? Let's go with. I'm gonna go with.
Go on hard. Go on hard. Go on hard.
I'm gonna go 2-1 United as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 2-1 United. I'm gonna go Greenwood first goal scorer.
And it's going to be two very dodgy VAR decisions that give us our 2 goals. One definitely better.
Not dodgy.
No,
if VAR says it's right. That's what I've come to admit.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that. Guys, Oliver, Joe, Temi, make sure you check these guys out. I've put their ats on the All for United account. Hit that subscribe button. Get involved with our videos. If you are watching this on the day it was released, Joe's up later on with the All for United podcast, where he's going to jump deeper into the Ollie out debate, or the where do we go next with Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer, which is going to be a wicked show. We'll of course be back with a match reaction after the game on Saturday. And Joe, are you doing this new thing with Carfick on Friday or not?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So you may see on Friday, you may not. If you do, it's a surprise. If you do, by the way, it's clearly not planned. So who knows what's going to happen with it. And if you don't, then they just couldn't be asked. Who cares? It's lockdown. All we want to do is sit in our underpants now and do nothing all the time anyway. So there we go. Hit that subscribe button, because this is the content you love, and we are out of here. Come on, United. Let's get that win at Goodison. Come on.